What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Brazykuts, man. We back at it with another video, and today we're gonna be doing a nice mid fade on my brother. Man, he's looking a little rough, so we're gonna get him right today. So we're gonna jump straight into it, going in with our number 2 guard all the way closed, and we're going to be debulking. All right. So when we debulking, we just want to literally go straight up, and we want to make sure that we're making it nice and even. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna help create a nice platform. And we want to make sure that we're going over our section a good amount of times, just because once I put that 2 guard on once, I don't want to have to go back and detail or even everything out again. And now we're jumping into our first bald line with our soft trimmers. And when I am making my guideline, I'm going to be dropping it once we get past the ear, just because I do want it to have some symmetry. And as you can see, his head shape does start to dip down. So I want to follow the same way his head shape, and also his parting. I'm usually following the parting section. I don't want to go straight across and create a line, because then the fade is going to go from a mid fade straight to a high fade. And right now we're going in with our skeleton FX, and we're just going to be going right underneath our last previous guideline. And because this is zero gapped, it gets a little bit closer to the skin. So we want to just help create another level of transition. And just to let you guys know, all the tools that I've used in this video, the link will be in the bio, so make sure you guys check that out. So now we're going in with our no guard lever open, and we're going to be creating our first line. And we're going up about 1 inch because we want to give ourselves enough space so that we can create a nice smooth transition, y'all. And in this video, I did change the way that I fade. I found a new system, so just pay attention to that. So now we're going all the way close, and we're just going to be bringing up that bottom line, baby tapping it, probably about 1/4 inch. That right after that, we're going to go 1 notch lower, and we're going to be raising it up a tiny bit more until we get to halfway. And then you'll see basically the line is gone and is complete. I'm always using my corners, making sure that my corner game is nice, because like I said, I don't want to be using the whole blade in hidden areas that I never wanted to in the first place. So now we dropped it halfway, and the line is basically complete. Now we're just going to be detailing it, making sure everything is nice and smooth and clean to move forward. So right now I moved on to my number 1 guard. We're all the way closed, and we're going to be bringing it up about 1/2 inch. Making sure we have consistent strokes. And right now I've just opened up the lever all the way, and we're going to be going up another 1/2 inch. So to blend in between the 1 guard close and the 1 guard open, we're going to be going halfway on our lever and just flicking out any line that we do see in between those guidelines. So now my next step, I'm going in with my 1.5, and it is halfway closed, and we're just going to be taking out this last initial guideline. So if you didn't notice, the way I changed my steps was, instead of going with my 1 guard open and then going close, I went straight with my close and then open. So what I found that this did was it created a smoother transition, and it also saved up a lot of my time. And for me personally, that's what I'm always trying to do, is find ways to, you know, get a better fade and save time while cutting, so that I don't have to rush and get behind, or I don't have to always be stuck in a certain place with my fade. So right after we go with our close, we're going to open up the lever all the way, and we're just going to be clearing out any of the darkness that we see laying on top. And to finish everything off, we are going to be going in with our 0.5 or our 1/2 guard, and we're going to start off open, slowly working our way close, just removing any areas that we see we need to work out. And with the new system that I did try, it did take me about 5 minutes to do this side. It took me about 5 minutes on each side, from one side to the other side to the back, and I was really happy with that because it gave me more time to detail. So now we're going to be on the other side, and we're doing the same steps, starting off with a number 2 guard, and we're just taking out that bulk. And one thing that you want to make sure, especially when you're going into a long curly top, is that you don't catch any of the longer hairs. So I would recommend getting any type of hair clips to get the hairs out of the way. Now we're going to be making our same guideline, and we're going to be speeding this up a little bit so you guys could just tag along. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I used to cut hair at the beginning, I used to almost feel as if the trimmer was sticking onto the client's skin. A tip that I can give you guys is you want to let the clipper do its work. You don't need to press down or try and dig in as much as you want to. Just lay the clipper flat, lay the trimmer flat, and let it do its job. And as you can see, this haircut can be tricky due to the fact that around the hairline, there is a lot more space to work with when it does come to making our fade. As towards when you get more towards the back area, it does get a little bit tighter. This is why you have to contour it towards the shape of the client's head, because sometimes it's not always going to come out the way you want it to or the way you'd like it to, or you might not always have the same space that you do on each side. But right now we're still following the same system, going back with our one closed, and then we're going to be going one open again, and then to blend that in we're going to be going halfway into one. And I'm still learning, guys. You know, every time I fade, I do, you know, in the shop you do a bunch of haircuts every single day. After a while, you want to try something new, you want to try something different, you want to get out of your element. So, you know, when it comes to me trying different systems and doing different things, it's fun for me, because at the end of the day, I love doing this, but I also have to make it fun for myself. And if I were to stay doing the same consistent system every single time, you know, there's no fun in that sometimes. So change it up a bit, you know, try something new. If you fade down, fade up. If you fade up, fade down. If you do one side, try to do the whole head. Do certain things to make sure that you end up still loving the game, you know, and being always being a student of it. So right now I'm going back in with my 1.5, and now I'm at my 1, and we're just going to be detailing the rest of this haircut. I cut off the rest of it just because I want to get towards the hairline. That's the key point of this haircut that I'm going to be showing you guys. But right now we're going in with our 0.5, and we're just going to be detailing the rest of the sides. Okay, so now we're going to be doing the hairline, and right here what I'm doing is I'm going to be taking down some of the length, some of the extra flyaways. I'm going to be going with the grain with my number 1.5, and this just helps lay down the hair so that when I do start my lineup, there's no overflying hairs that are laying on top of it. It just helps me set myself up for success. And now right after that, I do go in with my razor comb. Like I said, this just helps get that extra detail in. Anything I see on the vertical bars, even on the top of the hairline, I try and get that, just so when I do go in my line, it does come out as clean as possible. And now we're going to be starting his lineup. So I want you guys to pay attention to the way his hair is growing in the middle of his lineup and the way it's growing on the sides. In the middle it's growing upwards, and then the sides is growing downwards. So we have to be careful, because when the hair typically grows up, it is usually lighter. When you tap in that line, it doesn't come out as crispy. So we want to make sure that we're not pushing it up too high, and we just want to get a solid foundation at the beginning. So since the highest point is in the middle of his hairline, I'm going to be starting in the middle, and then I'm going to be working my way either to the right or to the left. And you want to make sure that you tap and pull down. You don't need to put too much pressure, just tap and pull down. So I'm following it to the right side now, and I'm just getting all the way to the end of the horizontal bar. And I'm making sure I'm trying to get that corner as sharp as possible. Now I'm onto the left side, and I'm following the same steps. I'm always brushing because I want to get rid of the extra debris that's laying on top. And right after this, we're going to be moving on to doing our C cup. And when I typically start my C cup, I'll usually start at the tip of it, right at the top, make my first point, and then my second point will be right at the bottom. And then I'll just be connecting those 2 points together. So that's the way I kind of do it. I'll draw my first point in and my second point, and I'll connect it all together. This helps me kind of with my guidelines so that I know where I'm starting, where I'm ending. And all you'll see me do right now is just detail and make sure that line is nice and clean. So now I'm just doing my vertical bars, and I'm basically just tapping at where the natural hairline is already and just defining it, making sure that it's nice and clean, taking my time with it, not trying to rush or with it. And to get that line up nice and crisp, I am tapping and pulling away so that I can create that nice sharp lineup. And right now I'm just going to be following the same steps on the other side, starting with the C cup. And guys, when you are lining up your client, you want to make sure that you take your time. You never want to rush through. For me, the lineup is probably the most crucial part. So you want to make sure you take your time with it. And right here, you will see me kind of going over on top of the hairs because there are some flyaways. So you always want to make sure that you catch the flyaways, just because it might look clean now, but when your client moves or plays with his hairline and he sees a couple hairs laying over, he might get frustrated or mad. So just make sure you get those extra little hairs laying on top. Okay, so now that we got our lineup nice and clean and as sharp as we naturally can, we're going to be adding our enhancements in. So the one thing I want to point out also again is when you are adding enhancements, you are meant to enhance the lineup. You're not trying to create your lineup. So make sure that your lineup before the enhancements is already as sharp as it can be. And all you're doing with your enhancement is you're just going over your lineup and just hitting any of the light areas and making it a little bit more sharper. And also a good reminder for when you are spraying is try and keep it at a little bit of a distance. You never really want to spray too close because you might be applying too much of the enhancement onto the hairline. And keeping it from a distance just gives it a nice consistent spray also. So now that I work my way from the middle to the left side, I'm going to be continuing it over to the other side, following the exact same steps. And for me, typically, I don't like to do too much of an overspray. I like going bit by bit so I can see myself actually creating the lineup. And when I do spray, I like to spray it almost basically directly on the card. For me, I find that it helps create a sharper line. And typically for most of my enhanced lineups, all I really do use is the no drip. But in this video, I'm going to be adding some Topic just so I could show you guys the proper procedures of how it looks and the finished product of it. So we're following the exact same steps. We're just applying a bit of the Topic over the no drip. And the Topic kind of gives it more of a realistic look just because it's more of a fiber look, whereas the no drip is kind of like a painted look. But nonetheless, both are still very good to use. I like using the no drip a little bit better because it does last longer. That's the only problem with the Topic, is that it will come out after one wash for the most part. So my camera didn't actually catch me putting on the hairspray, but after I was done putting on the Topic, I applied some hairspray just so that it can have a much stronger hold. And now I'm just going over with my trimmers just to make sure that everything is nice and clean and is sitting in place properly. And like I said, guys, you don't need to apply these enhancements on every haircut that you do, but it's just good to let your client know that you do offer the service, because you never know. Sometimes they might want to look extra clean. They just might want to have that nice finished look. So the simple fact that you can provide this service, it's an upcharge, and also you can make your clients very happy. So right after going in with our trimmers, we're going to be going in with our straight razor. And you're going to see me going with the grain, and I'm going right down the middle of his forehead because he does have a lot of baby hairs. And what that does by clearing all those hairs is it creates a nice contrast between the light and darkness. So what that'll do is it'll make your hairline pop out a lot more when you're lining it up. And right here you see me using the backhand method. The reason being is because I was in a little bit of an awkward position, so I had to figure out another way to line my client up. But right now we're getting nice tension on the skin, letting the razor do its work once again, only using either the front or the heel of the blade. And guys, leave a comment down below and let me know what you find is the easiest or the hardest thing about the lineup from the beginning to end. And now we're just doing the final touches, making sure that we get very close to that edge up, making it come out nice and clean and crispy. And I hope these angles are good for y'all. I tried to get the best angles that I can. So just to recap, this is how my client came in looking like, and this is the after effect. Man, I appreciate you guys for tapping in once again. If you guys could leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what else you'd like to see on this channel. This channel is all about growing, being with you guys, growing with each other, helping each other learn, helping each other grow. So I would appreciate you guys if you can leave a comment and keep spreading the love. I'm out.